a baked back.
Yes.
Color back is not baked.
Oh, isn't it?
It's only a paint color
Oh, okay.
on the back, and it's a different process.
And this then is baked or not?
This was baked
Baked
because
on,
this
yeah.
was still Pilkingtons,
Yes.
and it was still done in the same manner as the spandrels.
That's right. Yes.
And that was a baked finish because of its location, so
Yes.
it was impervious.
Yes. And the heat and the UV and the height of a building, you wouldn't want that peeling off. So I guess
No,
they had to guarantee
yeah.
it's not going to fall off. Sometimes you see it coming off.
And with the ceramic, the color becomes integral with the surface. I believe that's what the baking does for it.
Yes, yes. And very consistent. Then you could be guaranteed a very consistent colour through the
Yeah.
whole thing. It was
Well,
no.
the same with colorback,
Yes,
except the colorback does not have that process.
yes, yes. And then between the glass was,
I think there was a stainless steel.
I think that was a Grigio marble. There's some sort of grey stone there.
Horizontally, and the cornice was Giallo Sienna,
Yes,
and then the horizontal was a gray
yes,
marble,
yes.
and then every once in a while there was a vertical stainless steel or chrome vertical.
Yes.
And
And the walls step with a mirror between, so it looks like there's space between them.
no, the walls were all flush.
Oh, have a look. Because the ceiling steps, it looks like the wall step as well.
Oh, maybe. Oh, it does. Yes, you can see in the reflection.
So each one slides past.
You can
yes.
see in the reflection.
In the reflection, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great shot, that, isn't it? Because you're actually looking at reflections, but it then describes the whole space
Yeah.
there.
So the blue panels appeared to be paper thin, freestanding
Yes.
panels.
And infinite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And in that space, any thoughts on why it was blue?
That word with a W in front of it.
Right. Yes.
Green.
Good. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Certainly a transition between the spaces, isn't it? The black of the lift lobby, and then the rooms. I found the dining room very friendly spaces, so it's quite it is a.
I mean, the dining room was, from memory, a pale veneer, and it had that long one wall of pale veneer, and then the Sophia mural
Yes, which is in here. That's right.
on the western wall.
I thought it was here. It's not. I've got a slide of it. And in the selection of, was it you with Eileen Shannon that chose Salvador Zafra? Oh no, you had an idea of the Battle of Uccello.
We had yes, and then she selected Zafra. And we had said we wanted something that looked like the postcard from the National Gallery, and so we got that, which in a sense depicts the history of the bank, starting as the rural bank with people working in wheat fields and collecting sheaves of wheat.
Yes. Yes. And because you liked Uccello's painting, wasn't it? The Battle of, what was the...
San Marzano
Yes.
by Paolo Uccello.
Yes.
And that's when we built the model.
Yes. Oh, you put that in it?
We had put that postcard on that wall
Yes.
as an indication that we wanted a mural on that wall.
Yes.
And that we want to put something of that kind of vitality.
Yes. And then how did it go from that to Zafra's?
Because Eileen then said, fine, if that's what you want,
Yes.
we'll do a mural.
Yes.
And she selected Sophia,
Yes.
and Sophia then sat down with Nick Whitlam,
Ah, I see.
and Nick discussed the history of the bank,
Ah, very
and
good.
so that's
Yes.
how that developed.
Yes. Yes.
So I didn't get lances and
Yes.
magic horses. I just got one horse's ass.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting because I can see the sort of the lineage in it. It's not a battle, but it has that. It's like it's a. I mean, the original is a heroic painting.
Yes.
And similarly, somewhat this is the rural, the peasants and the people making.
And yes.
It is in some ways, and the
Yeah.
history of the bank. And then there was the entrance door was through one of these, wasn't it? I think, is that back the front? No, it's not. That's right. There was an entrance door.
There's a door on that wall.
Went through to the top of the stair.
Yes,
Yes.
because the doors on that side, on that
Yes.
wall, was the door to the corridor,
Yes.
the service door to the kitchen,
Yes.
and an operable wall that connected the next
Yes.
dining room,
Yes.
so that you can then have one long table
Yes.
that went the length of that
Mhm.
room and then into the other. So all
Yeah.
the dining tables could be joined
Yes.
together and they can have one big giant lunch
Yes.
or dinner
Yes.
running down the eastern side of the room.
Yes. Yes. And then tell us about the furniture here. That's
There's not Bill Stevens.
Robert Stevens.
Hmm?
Robert Stevens.
No, the sofas and chairs, the red sofa and the two armchairs. It's a Knoll product, and there are two Mies van der MR chairs, and I can't remember,
I can't remember either.
the
No.
name of the designer of the sofa. It's not. We can look it up.
Yeah. And it's quite one thing I like about it. It's quite a rich, warm room, isn't it? The colours.
Yeah, and the carpet is a sort of a white ground with stripes of. It's a white ground of cut pile and stripes of blue tufts interspersed with silver mylar,
Oh,
so that you get this kind of twinkle
Yes.
down the stripe.
Yes.
It was quite elegant.
Yeah. Lovely.
And all the dining chairs were Bruno chairs, which everybody found wonderfully comfortable, but heavy as hell to
Yes.
move in and out.
Yes. Yes.
Bit of a,
I'll just-
all the furniture was very heavy, and at one point they had rearranged the furniture so that the Mies chairs had their back to the window, and they swapped the sofa around so that they could all sit in the sofa and look at the view. And the view was so important.
Yes. Yes. I was just looking for. Oh, no, it was in here. Then the next, if I remember, it was dining room 2, which was the.
Had that sort of sideboard, very ornamental sideboard, that was done by Arthur
Yes.
Collins, and it was a pun on the Harbour Bridge.
And how did that come about? Why the Harbour Bridge? Was that just discussion with you and Arthur, or?
Yeah, just sort of let's do something in music, because we had, and then put on the very elaborate columns
Yes.
of mixed veneers with special lights at the very
That's right, yes.
torches at the top. Yeah, and those columns then went into the main dining room on either side of the operable wall, which then completely slid into the pockets.
Yep. And then on the south side were the triptych. Michael Johnson.
Michael Johnson, exactly.
And how did that come about? Was that
Again, there was with a thing of let's have art. We're going to have, sitting down with Eileen and say we're going to have panels on the wall, and can we put in paintings as part of
yes?
the panel system? And so I think there were red velvet
Yes.
panels and the three. Michael, so it would have been 5 red velvet panels.
Yes.
Yeah, and we put it as a protection of both the panels and the painting. We put in the chair rail,
Yes.
which completely horrified Michael Johnson's wife
Yes.
that we were doing such a thing, and then finally she calmed down.
Yes.
But otherwise, some booby would have pushed a chair
Yes.
against it.
Yeah. And that beautiful red velvet, and
Yes.
then and they were specially made, specially commissioned artworks to fit the breakup of the wall.
Yeah,
Yes.
everything was sized,
Yes.
and so we had a panel size, a painting size.
Yes. Then the room south of that, the third dining room, was quite a smaller room, wasn't it? Quite a
And-
different character.
And very different. That was all veneered in a sort of embroider
Yes.
burl.
That rings a bell. Yes.
It was quite precious,
Yes.
and it was like a little toy box.
Yes.
Like walking into a jewelry box or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was like big square panels on the wall. I vaguely remember it. They didn't step, but they accommodated. I forget, there was a column or something there that they accommodated. I can't remember.
And there was a built-in sideboard.
Yes. Yes.
And it was all kind of precious and sort of quite
Yes.
jewel-like, and apparently, again, infrequently used.
Yes.
They, I think Nick and John O'Neill, or the chairman, would use it for lunch
Yes.
when they had small groups.
Yes.
So maybe they did use it more frequently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
How are you? So the idea was that it was a more private room, smaller room. You could have a smaller gathering. You could eat separately to everybody else.
Yeah, I think the table was, maximum 8,
Yes.
something like that.
Yes. Yes.
So it was, or maybe 6.
Yes.
So it was really just an intimate rooms, or 3 people, 2
Yes.
people, 4 people could feel comfortable
Yes.
in it.
Yes. Whereas the big one, it was generous,
It was a big
warm,
table,
and
but I think something like 16 at the table, and the other one was 8 or 10.
yes. Yes.
And then that other one was really 6 or less, or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
The commercial kitchen that then fed this. Did you have anything to do with the design of that? What was done? Was there a designer for that, or
No.
a chef?
I think that was all done. I'm pretty sure by the the kitchen people.
Yes.
People like Maddie, or did Tony Bilson have anything?
I don't think so, unless he advised on the design. I don't remember. I know he wasn't the chef there.
No.
I don't. But whether he designed on it, I can't remember.
I can't
I don't
remember
think so.
either how that came about. I mean, the space was there,
Yes.
and I'm quite sure the kitchen people
Yes.
did the layout,
Yes.
and their with their chefs
Yes. Yes.
is really, how that would have come about.
Yes. Then going south from the third dining room, there was some space there, but in the corner were the visiting managers. So the corner room and the two next to it, I think, were visiting managers, so managers could come in from branches and use.
No, because I think after the small dining, the next room would have been the chairman's conference room.
No, the other side of the building. That's the western side.
Ah,
I just can't
yes,
remember.
Yes,
I can't remember what it
No,
on the eastern side.
oh God, sorry. It was the chairman was on the western side,
Yes.
the dining room, and then there were a series of visiting directors' rooms.
That's it. Yes. 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 That went all the way to the corner because the last one was in the corner.
The last one was on the corner. Then there was the secretarial space,
Yes.
and then on the western side, I think there were some offices.
Yes.
There were offices of bank people,
Yes.
support staff.
Yeah. I think in that southwestern corner there was a little meeting room that was on the corner, and then there was another guy who was. I remember he had an office. It wasn't John Rennell. It was a name like that. He was sort of the guy that knew everything and did everything, and he was there. I know if we spoke to him, he could get it done, or something. You wouldn't go to Whitlam or somebody.
And he was on the eastern side.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was all that sort of support staff that was there.
And the visiting directors were on the western side.
Yeah, there were some of their offices on the eastern side, and then I think the meeting room was on the western side. I can't remember. We need a plan. Then George, just a couple of things. If we, I'd like to just talk about the connecting stair between the two levels. Other than that, I think we've pretty well covered it. And next time, I'd love to speak about level 7.
Okay.
The thing. So just on the stair that then connects the two levels.
Give me one moment. I just
Yes.
want to get
Certainly.
some stuff.
Yep.